for inviting us along today, and welcome to everybody. And I hope you find this session useful, and I'm really hoping that we can gain a little bit more insight into how we can encourage patient organisations to submit through the One Wales process. Okay, so the One Wales Medicines process is essentially an alternative route of access to medicines for NHS Wales, and it covers things like, as Effie was talking about earlier, medicines that might be being used outside of their licensed indication. So predominantly we're looking at kind of off-label use here. So it might be for a new condition or being used at a different dose, for example. And it also includes medicines that have a license, but for one reason or another, they're not ready to go through our appraisal route. So that would be either through AWMSG or NICE. It might be that they're trying to gather some more information about this specific group of patients that they're hoping it was going to be used for. And so we allow access to those medicines so that they can have that time to capture that data. And any medicine that goes through our One Wales process, we do ask clinicians to supply information on their patients so we can see who's had access to it in terms of volume of patients, and also what their outcomes were, whether they're still on the medication, if there are any, they've had any particular side effects, which means that they've had to come off that medication. So we get a balance, and particularly for those that are being used off-label, where there may be less information on using that medicine, that we've got a little bit more information about whether they're effective and whether it's value for money for the NHS Wales to continue making that available. So recommendations for any One Wales medicines go through the One Wales Medicines Assessment Group, and that's ALMAG for short. And recommendations by this group go to the chief execs from all the health boards across Wales, and they make that final decision as to whether or not it can be available in Wales. We have a work programme on our website, and decisions are displayed on there as well. So ALMAG is a multidisciplinary group, and it includes representation from each health board and the trust in Wales. It also includes lay membership. We have health economic representation, we have finance representation, and we have industry representation on that group also. For ALMAG to make a decision, we provide them with a clinical report, and that's produced by AWTTC, and it's similar to the AWMSG process in that we were looking for evidence of clinical effectiveness, any evidence of cost effectiveness or value for money, where we don't have particular models or data like that might be available for AWMSG. We also look at what the budget impact is, and then we look at things like any other considerations, and those fall really through our invitations to clinical experts and patient organisations, and they're there really to paint that picture for us of what the disease is, what impact it has on patients, carers and families, and we invite them to come and talk to us about that. And we ask them lots of questions as well at that ALMAG meeting to really pull apart what the nitty-gritty is and why we really need to get access to this medicine in Wales. So the patient voice is a real integral part of that. We contact organisations as soon as we have confirmation that the medicine's going through our process, and we use our current contacts list, and that's predominantly what we've collected from our time as working with AWMSG. We post our work on the work in progress pages on the AWTTC website, and we essentially ask the patient organisations to provide any information on patient experiences, and it is open to individual patients as well. So we really value patient stories. Patients can fill out their individual questionnaires, also carers as well, and any statements either from the patient organisation or again from perhaps a collective of patients. And just really as we've talked about before, all kind of information on how the condition affects an individual and their carers and families and all aspects of as well of their lives. We do invite groups to attend ALMAG. We don't get many attending, and that's a real shame, and that's something that we're really keen to work on as an organisation. And we also have generally low patient organisation submission rates for in terms of questionnaires and statements. So again, it's something that we really want to resolve. So the ways in which we're doing that, we're looking at things like a communication strategy. So that's looking at more about how we provide information out there, perhaps using more of our social media, for example. We also would like your input on that in terms of what you think we could do better to get that message across. We have a video that's almost ready, which will be in English and in Welsh. And that's explaining what One Wales is and how it works and the process behind that. But if I leave it there, what I'd like to do now is hand over to Rachel Williams. Rachel has worked with us on the past on a submission that came through the One Wales process for a medicine called opicapone, which is used for Parkinson's disease. And Rachel is the Policy Campaigns and Communications Manager Wales for Parkinson's UK. So thank you, Rachel, for agreeing to come today. I really appreciate it. And I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll hand over to you if that's okay. Thank you.